In the previous lecture, we have implemented Salesforce and LinkedIn integration along with the fetching some basic information about the logged in user. Logged in user is the user who have authenticated our API, our application that we are developing inside Salesforce. In this lecture, what we are going to do is we are going to create a post to LinkedIn profile using the API. We already have fetched the user details, so we are not going to talk about that, but we have to get the LinkedIn profile. We have to create a post. So how we can create that? Let's quickly see for that. So for that we have an API called LinkedIn Share API. Share API is the one which deals along with the what I'll say is your post creation, likes, comments, and retrieve all those details. So once you Google it, LinkedIn Share API, you'll get the very first link. Just click on that, and once you will open that link over here, you will see what all permission you need, how to post that, and with the various parameters, with the various URL endpoints. The first thing we'll talk about what permission you need or what permission your application need in order to post a comment to the LinkedIn against the registered, not registered, against the authenticated user. So if you see here, we have got organization social, which is for if you have a company page, the permission is related to that, these two permissions. And then we have got this write member social, read member social. So this is again the restricted permission, and this is the permission that we have fetched, or we are using this scope from the previous authentication. If you have noticed that we are using this w member underscore social. If you not, you can just quickly go ahead and go to the metadata, custom metadata, and you can verify. And if you verify here, it post comment like on behalf of the authenticated user. That means this is the permission we need, and we already have that permission. Now if you scroll down over here, you will see what kind of or what are the types of shares that we can have. That means a particular person can share some post that we usually do, and you can share a post in the organization page, that you have some page, organization page, like I have created my own page, SFDC Panther. You can post under that, but that comes under the approved API, that is for the selective developers, so we cannot do that. But we will do this first type of share, which is person share. And these are all the fields, we can say schema, the objects that we actually sent or we receive as a response over here. So you can just over agent content, what kind of content you are sharing, what is the timestamp for created, ID, all these fields you can just go through with that. If you scroll down here, you can see look up share by one ID. That means if you have some share ID, you can just get the response for that, and you can just find shares by owners. So all these operations you can have a look. But what we are going to have a look is how we can create a share. If you scroll down over here, you can see share, likes, comments and likes. This is social action API. You can just click and open into the new tab. On this tab here, it will take you to where you can create a like on share. You can comment or mentioning. You can create a comment on comment, and you can create a comment on a share. So there are, like, this is the one here. You can create comment and create comment on share. So these are the various options that you can have in your share, in your post. You can like, you can comment, you can get the comments on comments, you can post comments on comments. So that all actions you can perform, and that is available free as a free API, and we already have got the access token for that. And before we go ahead and read this API, remember we talked about LinkedIn refresh token. So unfortunately, that refresh token is not available. LinkedIn has released, but that is still for some selective developers. That is in beta version. Hopefully we will get in the near future, but as of now we don't have any concept of refresh token in LinkedIn. So we can use that token that we have got, which is valid for 2 months. If not, then again we have to revalidate. Now let's quickly talk about how we can save the request. Okay, you can see here, these are the two parameters or two types of parameter that we have talked about. Types of shares, not parameters. You are an ally, it is a person. You are an ally, it is an organization. And which organization or which person we wanted to share. So here we have to get the ID. So if you remember in the previous lecture, we get the user information where we got the user ID. That is the ID which we need to use over here. And then these are the two permissions that we need. So we already have this member social. We don't need to worry about this organization social. And this is the request. So we already have this URL into our metadata. If we go back, verify this, yes, we do have. And this is the request that we need to send. So as you can see, this is a JSON request. We have two options that we discussed. One thing, we can create a class. How we can create? We can just copy this, go to admin booster tools, JSON to Apex, paste that JSON over here, generate class, and we will see the class over here. Or else what we can do is we can just copy this JSON, this string form, and paste into our Apex class, and then replace the data or replace the details to make it dynamic with our dynamic values. So I'm going to use this second option. If you want to use, you can just quickly use all this class, and then based on the same process that we have used for the QuickBooks, you can use the similar process to create the LinkedIn post as well. So let's quickly have a look over here. I have a method over here called share post to LinkedIn. And what I have is, I have, again, we are just getting the configuration, we are getting the URL endpoints, access token. We've got this access token, and then I just prepared the request body here. You can see it is a completely static body. I'm not making it dynamic. If you can see here, we have got this entity location. What this entity location is, this is nothing, it is a supporting URL for your post. Suppose that you are posting a post on LinkedIn saying that how to learn Salesforce integration with LinkedIn. If you wanted to learn, follow the below link. So this is the link that is the supported URL for you. And if you wanted to add some images to your post, these are the thumbnails. You can have multiple thumbnails separated by an object over here. I have just added a thumbnail over here. I can just open it and show it to you. This is the thumbnail that I'm going to post here. LinkedIn information, something like that. This is my old post that I did in back 2017. Even you can see it is something summer 17, or I'm not sure what release it was. And then title here, I just say saying that LinkedIn integrate LinkedIn with Salesforce with the SFDC Panther. I can say over here. You will see where all these gettings we are, and then you have subject, and this is the text. If you wanted to have some text, you can say over here, like you can say, hi there, looking to integrate Salesforce with LinkedIn. I will say follow the below link, and I can say this post is from the LinkedIn API, and I just putting in a smiley sign over here. So this is the text that we are going to send it over there. And then again, this we don't need this as of now, but if we need for the earlier and the purpose of reference token, let it be over here. Might be near future we got that, then it will be helpful for us. Again, we prepared the request over here. This time, if you see in the request, we send the endpoint we need, we send the access token, we wanted to post that information, what is the request body we just prepared, and what is the format of the body that we are sending. It is a JSON form, and then we said either 200 or 201. Just debug the response, that's it. We don't want to do more about on that response, so we just wanted to debug it. Now if you notice one more thing over here in this owner, if you have seen in the post of the API, if you have just scroll down, you can see, right, these are the owners, the URL formats. We have got the person and organization, and the ID is dynamic, right? What I have done is I have get my post, get the ID of my profile, I can say, from this very first URL, which is, so if you see here, right, get user information, from this I got the ID, and then I'm using that ID statically. If you wanted to get that ID dynamically, what you can do is you can just quickly first execute this method. Okay, so just execute. I'm going to execute it over here, and I have turned the debug log on, so I'll just go to debug log to get that JSON file, whatever it is returning to me. Okay, beautify it. You can see this is the ID we need, right? So ID is on the top we need. So what we can do is, let me quickly do it so that you all don't have to do. So what we will quickly do is we'll go to metadata and we will create one more field over here. We will say user ID. That is nothing which is our LinkedIn user ID. So what I'll do is I'll create over here, I will say LinkedIn person ID. We don't need the custom metadata type. We need a field inside LinkedIn. So we're just going to create that. Sorry about that. Let's quickly create over here. It is a text type of field, and I will say this time LinkedIn person ID. It is for so now we have got one field where we can just save our LinkedIn person ID. Now what we can do is we can just quickly copy this because this is what we need. Okay, go to our developer console, basic information under 200. What we can do is let's paste it over here. As of now, what we will do is we'll quickly create a map of a string colon object, and we will say response map. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to deserialize our response. So we will say system.json.deserialize untyped. Why we said that untyped? Because we don't know what is the type of response that we are going to deserialize. So what it is going to do is it is going to store key as a string, and whatever the value is that against that key as a value over here. So how it will look like is it will store id as a key and this as a value, and this can be of any type, boolean, number, integer, anything. That's why we say untyped. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get the id. I'll say string user id response map.get, and here I'll say id. And again, if we are getting from an object, we have to tell this, because this tell the system that this is the id or this is the form of our response which we wanted to get. So we wanted to get as an string, and what next we will do is we will quickly get back to our token here. So what we have to do is, yes, let's quickly copy these two lines because we have to deploy that. Okay, deploy the custom metadata with our user id. So we have to use it over here. Before that, again we have to prepare one more map where we will be preparing, I can say here, user id map. And in this user id we are going to put the field name as a key. This is the API name, we have to put that, and then value, which is user id. This is what we need, and here we need this user id map instead of token. So now what we did is, actually, instead of making that API call out for getting that user ID again and again, we are just deploying that. Now we will quickly hit this URL, execute this, and let it executed. Yes, it executed. We just click on log more. You can see we got this queuable handler. If you go to LinkedIn config, refresh this, we got this LinkedIn person ID. Now what we can do is we can use this LinkedIn person ID, and this is where we need to use. What I'll do is let's prepare the URL first here. So we will say string owner, and this is what we need here is, so I'll say, so this is the complete, right? So let's quickly copy up to over here and paste it over here. So we got this we prepared this complete URL that it actually needed. And here what we can do is we can put it dynamically. So I'm going to just say this is my owner. Now what we did is we put it dynamic way. We are getting that user ID dynamically from our access credentials, and then we are using that. Now if we try to, instead of hitting that for getting the information, we can just use this share post to LinkedIn. I can just use this and click on execute. So I have executed this. I can just go to debug log, go to my logs section here. I can see I got a 36 KB log. Open it in a new window. I will just show you the success response or error response if there is any. If you go here, you can see status code is 201, and this is what you have got, right? So you can just copy this URL. Sorry, not URL, the JSON, because this is also useful for your, I'll say, for the assignment purpose. Just beautify it. You can see you've got the owner, you got the activity. This is your URL ID which you will be using as an assignment part. So you might want it to deserialize it and then store into an object. We might see where we want it to store, and this is the text. You can see this is the title and thumbnail. You all, everything you can see over here. What is media type? It is an article, right? Let me show you where and how it got shared. So I am here in my LinkedIn profile. If I click on refresh over here, you can see on the title on recent activity, and the post is over here, and you can see how the title is getting how title is affecting our link, and how you can go to this particular URL. Just click on this and then go to this post and activity. If you click on post and activity, you will be on the same page where I am. And then after that, you can see like you can see the thumbnail image that I have posted over here, the link. If I click on this link, it is going to take me into the post that I did earlier in my site. Here you can see this is the post. So this is all how you can do that, right? And next, what you can do is you can share your post again. You can just comment it, you can like it. So these are all three that you can do is, and all three comes under this the API called social action APIs. So you can just work with this. So this is it for this lecture, and with that we have assignments that you have to do. What assignment you have to do is, there are two assignments. So what you need to do is you need to create a custom object called LinkedIn post with the following fields. These are all the fields. There are not too many fields. Develop an Apex trigger. Whenever you create the record for this LinkedIn post inside your Salesforce, it should share the post inside the LinkedIn, inside your LinkedIn feed. You can do that. So how this field, this object is already created. If you have followed the step at very initial of this course, this object must be already there in your Salesforce org. If you go here, you can see this is the object LinkedIn post, and there is a tab as well. If you go to this LinkedIn tab, if you don't see, create or just give the permission to that logged in user, and you can just create the title, subject, supporting URL, thumbnail, image, URL, and your text. This is the content. So once you click on this save, it should immediately shoot a trigger and then send update in your LinkedIn feed. That's the first assignment. And there is one more assignment where you need to do is assignment number 2. You have to create 2 additional methods inside your class LinkedIn util. So what you have to do is that method will do create a comment inside the same post that you have created, and another method which will like your post that you have just created. So these are the 2 assignments that you have to complete in order to integrate Salesforce with LinkedIn.